Hi, and welcome to Paper Route Scrapbooking. I'm Nadine, and today I'm turning some scraps into embellishments. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Scraps to Embellishments series, a year-long hop with Ginger from Ginger's Corner and some of her friends, where we take our scraps and create beautiful things with them. This week I'm going to be creating a embellishment for the Hippity Hop Down the Bunny Trail swap over on Ginger's Corner. This embellishment needs to be something that is a bunny embellishment with at least 2 layers, and it has to be mailed out by April the 28th. So I think the sign up for the swap starts on the 15th, and then we have a couple of days to sign up, and then we're put on teams, and then we send out our 8 embellishments to our captain, and the captain swaps out the embellishments and sends us back 8 different embellishments. So you send 8, you get 8, but you make all one thing and you get 8 different things back. So I find those a lot of fun. Not everybody who's participating in the hop is actually swapping over on Ginger's Corner. Some people are just creating with the theme in order to show how they like to create with their scraps, and there is no wrong way over on Ginger's Corner, so we are all welcome to join in. So there's lots of inspiration happening on the one-click playlist that's also listed in the description box, along with the Facebook group where you can find the swaps happening. And so I hope that if you are interested in swapping with like-minded paper crafters, that you'll pop on over to Ginger's Corner and check it out. Okay, so today, making a bunny. I'm really excited about the bunny that I'm creating. So he's one of my faves. So I'm going to be starting out a little bit differently than I have with my other videos. I wanted to show how I choose my size of scraps. So what I do is I put my layered embellishment into my Cricut design space, and then I click make it, and then I click how many I want to make, right? I want to make 8. So sometimes I'll do it one at a time, or like I showed last time with my teal swap, I put 4 at a time where I could put 1 in each corner. This time I did a little bit differently. I'm going to do all 8 in one run through. So what I did was I looked on Cricut Design Space to see how much of a scrap I could use and still get all 8 in there. So here's my white scrap. My first black scrap will be this one, and then my second will be this one because I needed 2. There's 2 mats for the black. And then I tried to do this with the film on them, and it was so reflective. I'm like, I can't do that, but now they're sticking together. And then the pink, I actually only need a little bit, but I couldn't find anything long and narrow enough, so this is my scrap for that. And then my gray, I think this one will do. If it doesn't, I'll just recut. So not going to worry too much about it. I think this is big enough though to get all the gray on there. So I am going to pause the camera, run these scraps through my Cricut. They are all cardstock scraps this time. Sometimes I use tone-on-tone patterned papers, but mostly cardstock scraps because I have a ton of them. And I like to collect them at a lot of different places, not just from my own scrapbooking. A lot of this comes from just matting photos and the offcuts from that, but some of it also is from when I'm like at a thrift shop or a garage sale. If people are getting rid of their scrappy cardstock stuff, I'll usually grab it and pick it up. So some of it's from that. And I have been really enjoying participating not only in the swaps, but in this YouTube hop. So I hope you'll go and check out some of those other creators. There's a list down below and lots of inspiration there. Okay, so hang on. I'm going to go run this through the Cricut, and then I'll come back. We can talk some more while I create an embellishment with you. Hang on. I'll be right back. All right, everybody. So I did all the Cricut things, and now I have all the things to make these little guys. Isn't he cute? It's a baby Bugs Bunny. He's so sweet. But I'll be 100% honest. This cut file has been very finicky. So I am just doing my best, and none of them are going to be perfect. They're all going to have little imperfections, but I think he's ultimately pretty darn adorable. So I hope everybody loves him. And I think he'll be a really cute addition to any kind of scrapbook. You could do like really anything with him, I think. Doesn't have to be specifically Easter themed is what I was going for. It could be like lots of different things. So, what's up, Doc? You know, any of the things. We went when we were in California. We went on the Warner Brothers studio tour. If you ever get the chance, I highly recommend it. I found it better than the ones at the bigger, more popular parks because it was more personalized, I guess. I don't know if you can even say it like that, but it just was like, like there was only one other family with us in the tram, and we had like a tour guide and we got to get off the tram and go like into some of the buildings, and then I don't know, I just really liked it. I thought it was a little bit like you don't have all of the special effects stuff and all of that you get at like Hollywood Studio, or what's it called? Universal Studios. But it was, I don't know, it was like a little bit more, less flashy, more in depth, I guess would be a good way to put it. So it was a lot of like what's currently happening at, Warner Brothers Studio, what's, I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting. You couldn't take a ton of pictures though, because a lot of the sites that we went to were still like active sets. So for example, we went on, at the time that we went, this is, a good 10 years ago now, but we went and saw like the Big Bang Theory, for example, their set, which it's so interesting to see because their apartment, not that their apartment seems big on the show or anything, but like all of the apartments and the elevator and all the things are like on this teeny stage. It's so interesting. I don't know. But anyways, like I said, you can't take like pictures inside the sets or anywhere that's really like obvious. So, but it was fascinating to see. And I would really like to go again. My husband and my kids went one time. I was switching jobs, so I couldn't go with them that time on that particular trip, but they got to go a second time, and they said it was just as interesting the second time. So I would like to go again. So if you ever get a chance to do the Warner Brothers studio tour, I think you have to buy the tickets in advance, if I'm not mistaken. But it was pretty cool. And we went on a Sunday, which was also kind of cool because there was like, we went on a Sunday morning, there was no traffic. Everybody was at church, I guess. I don't know. In Hollywood, obviously. But yeah, it was very cool. So I wish I would have had this for that scrapbook, but like I said, that was a while ago. So it's already been scrapbooked. And but maybe that's where he'll go. Or I think he could also go with he could go with Easter. He could go with a story you'd like to tell about your own childhood if you loved Bugs Bunny back in the day. Or like Looney Tunes, Space Jam. Bugs Bunny was on Space Jam. I don't know. I just think he's a little bit more, I don't want to say different. Well, maybe it is different. Different than just an Easter Bunny, I guess. And I have two of these. That one back with the other. And then I'm going to get his ears on here. So I find this particular file very finicky. I find that the smaller pieces, things aren't fitting together the way that I want them to all the time. So I'm going to show you how I remedy that a little bit. And just to make it look still like everything is where I want it to be, even when it's not. There are fixes for that, so I'll show you that too. But this, again, is one of those older files from back in the day, and somebody told me the name of the program that we used to use back then. Oops, I put glue on the wrong side. See? Talking when I should be paying attention. The program that we used to use back in the day to get SVG files to work with Cricut was called Sure Cuts a Lot. But like I said, Provocraft made it so that you couldn't use that program anymore after a while. And then eventually they came out with Cricut Design Space, so it was all good. But my files didn't go to waste. But this is one of those older ones, so it's quite finicky, but I don't mind paper piecing. I just think I struggle to do it on camera because I like to have my head like right over top and like my face right on it but when I have the camera on, if I do that, then I have my head in the way of the actual creating, which is not the goal of the video, right? So, but yeah, I love making these paper piecing embellishments using my scraps. It's been so fun, and I love sharing them with my swap partners and finding and like seeing what everybody else sends. So fun. I quite enjoy it. All right, let's get these little teeth in there. This is the tiny piece that I was like, what? How am I supposed to get that in there? And this one actually turned out pretty good. But so like, do you see how there's like the black line around his belly, for example, where it's supposed to show a black line, but it didn't, like, I don't know, the pieces didn't fit in there properly. So I'm just going to take a black Sharpie pen, and I'm going to go around that little space a bit. And then that just gives it the illusion that there's that gap there, right? Same with right here. There's supposed to be a little gap there. So I'll just give it that illusion. I'm going to maybe widen this one with the pen also. This one here. There. That's better. And then it did cut out these teeny tiny little pieces in the eye, but I was like, no, I'm not fighting with those. So I'm just going to draw them in. I think that's just easier for me with a white gel pen. And then it didn't give him a nose. It just left the nose black, but I want it to be pink. So I got these Vicky Bouton, this one's Cotton Candy, and they are, I don't know, waterproof permanent markers. I'm not really sure what they were called back in the day, but I've had them for a long time, and they do show up on dark colors. So I'll hold this up in a second. Actually, I'll hold the one up that's dry because I do go over it after it dries a little bit. And so it shows pink on the black. So I like how that worked out. And then, of course, because it's going to a swap, I'm going to put my name on the back. So, and I also like to put the year and usually the swap. Hippity hop. Hop. That's not a word I spell very often. Hippity hop swap. Okay, so that is my embellishment for the hippity hop down the bunny trail swap over on Ginger's Corner. If you would like to see what other people are making with their scraps, you can definitely check out the one-click playlist, or there's a list of creators in the description box as well. You can go look at their separate channels, give them all a little bit of love, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much. Bye for now.